The glitch that watches Ethan had always been a horror game fanatic. When a new VR horror game called Nightmare Realm was released, he was among the first to try it. The game promised an ultra-realistic experience where the AI adapted to players' fears. As soon as he put on the headset, Ethan found himself in a dimly lit Victorian mansion. The walls were lined with old paintings, their eyes seeming to follow him. The objective was simple: survive the night. But something felt off. The shadows moved even when nothing was there. Whispers echoed behind him, but turning around revealed nothing. Then a message appeared. "Don't look at the glitch." Ethan frowned. There was no mention of a glitch in the game's reviews. As he walked through the eerie hallways, he suddenly caught a glimpse of something, an elongated, faceless figure frozen in the corner of his vision. His heartbeat spiked. He turned away. The whispers grew louder. Click, click, click. It was moving. Even worse, it was watching. Ethan tried to log out. Error. Cannot exit. He sprinted down the corridor, heart pounding, but every turn led him back to the same room. The paintings now had hollow faces, their mouths stretched wide in silent screams. The glitch loomed behind him, its featureless face shifting like static. The air grew colder, and the whispers turned into deep, guttural growls. The game's environment glitched around him, stretching and warping. Ethan tripped, falling onto the marble floor. As he pushed himself up, he realized his hands were distorting, his fingers elongating unnaturally like the creature's. A new message appeared. "You are now part of the glitch." The last thing he heard before the screen went black was a distorted voice whispering, "You looked." Ethan never woke up. The headset was removed by his roommate, but his body was unresponsive. His VR avatar, however, was still moving in the game's lobby, smiling. Update 6.66 Mira had been playing Phantom VR for weeks. The game was about ghost hunting in abandoned locations, but one night, an unexpected update installed itself. Update 6.66, Real Mode enabled. Curious, she activated it. Immediately, the game's graphics became hyper-realistic. She found herself inside a decrepit asylum, the air thick with decay. A new objective popped up: find the hidden patient. As she explored, the walls pulsed as if breathing. Shadows twitched unnaturally. In one room, a wheelchair rocked on its own. Then, she saw something. An emaciated figure crouched in the corner, its back to her. Her controller vibrated. "Say hello." Mira hesitated. The figure twitched. A voice behind her whispered, "Too late." She spun around. Nothing. But when she turned back, the figure was standing right in front of her, mouth unhinged, emitting an ear-splitting scream. The screen glitched. The headset shut off. But Mira wasn't in her room anymore. She was in the asylum, staring at the empty VR headset on the ground. Her game had become real. She turned and ran, but the hallways twisted into endless loops. The asylum groaned as if alive. Figures flickered at the edge of her vision, whispering incoherent words. Her heartbeat pounded in her ears as she found a door labelled Exit. She pushed it open, only to step into another asylum room. A mirror stood before her, showing her reflection, but her face was shifting, morphing into something inhuman. Behind her, the hidden patient grinned. A new message flashed. "You have been found." The Silent Lobby. Jake and his friends loved multiplayer horror VR games. One night, they entered a game called Silent Lobby, where players had to survive against an unknown threat. Upon entering, their avatars stood in a large, empty lobby with no instructions, no UI, no exit button. The only other figure was a mannequin-like NPC standing in the center. "Hello?" Jake's voice echoed, but none of his friends responded. He turned around. They were standing still, their avatars unmoving. A message popped up. "Ready to begin!" The NPC's head snapped toward him. Jake screamed and ripped off his headset. His friends were still wearing theirs, motionless. He shook them, but they didn't respond. Their screens showed static, then his own face staring back at him from inside the game. The last thing he saw before the power cut was a chat notification on his screen. New player joined. It was his own name. He turned back toward his friends. Except now, they weren't avatars anymore. They were mannequins, their plastic faces twisted into silent screams. And the game had just begun. The livestream curse. Chris, a VR horror streamer, had a massive following. One night, he received a mysterious game titled Do Not Stream. Thinking it was a joke, he decided to play it live. The game loaded a dark, endless hallway. A message appeared. "If you hear breathing, don't move." Chris laughed it off. He walked forward. Ah! A long, guttural exhale filled his ears. He froze. His chat exploded. "Dude, there's something behind you." Chris smirked. "Nice try." But then he noticed something horrifying. The comments were slowing down, turning into strings of gibberish. His reflection in the game's walls wasn't his own. It was smiling. Suddenly, his VR character was yanked into the darkness. The live stream cut out. The next morning, his viewers found his apartment empty, his PC still running. The last thing on his screen was the game's main menu. A new option had appeared. New player, Chris. His followers tried searching for him, but Chris had vanished. Months later, another streamer stumbled upon Do Not Stream. A new feature had been added. Watch previous player. Clicking on it showed Chris, still in the game, running down an endless hallway, screaming for help.